Action Print is Iowa's largest business printer. Every day we work with Iowa's biggest, most successful businesses, and every day we're helping the smallest businesses look better, sharper. Action Print's marketing specialist will show you the best way. We'll guarantee it. We're your #1 printer. Make us your only printer.
Come to Action Print for quality business printing. 3 convenient locations.
Business kept us on the road for days, and I was hard-pressed for a good deal on a rental car. But some guys in the airport might take me to the cleaners. Suddenly, everything fell into place.
Dollar Rent-A-Car is right on the airport, right on the money. Great rates, unlimited mileage.
May I see something in the compact?
Call 1-800-800-4000.
Good morning. There's word this morning that the Japanese are trying to buy into America's favorite pastime. A group headed by the president of the Japanese video game maker Nintendo wants to buy the Seattle Mariners for $100 million. Though the present owner says he's anxious to sell to the highest bidder, Baseball Commissioner Faye Vincent is doubtful that Major League owners will approve the offer today, Friday, January 24th, 1992.
From NBC News, this is Today with Bryant Gumbel, Catherine Couric, and Joe Garagiola.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Bryant's off for a few days, but Joe and I are here, the old reliable. And this morning we'll be talking of that Japanese offer with Faye Vincent, the Commissioner of Baseball. Are you surprised by that?
I was, well, not really surprised, although I was with the Commissioner last night. He's heading for vacation, and he's taking time out to talk to us, and we're going to ask him if it's likely to happen. We'll find out about that. And we're also going to wrap up our series this week on the state of America with a look on how to regain our edge in the world marketplace. So it's going to be an interesting day.
Yeah, we'll also have a tale of 2 cities and 2 General Motors plants. One will be closed, but which one? We'll also go to Cape Town, South Africa to talk to Paul Simon, not the senator, mind you, the musician, about his concert tour. And we'll look into that landmark legislation which goes into effect on Sunday, the Americans with Disabilities Act. But let's get started with the morning's top news story. Here's Faith. Hi, Faith.
Good morning, Katie. Good morning, Joe. Morning, everyone. The Bush administration is caught in the turmoil of Middle East politics this morning. Israel is demanding an answer to its request for U.S. loan guarantees, but Israel is also refusing a U.S. request that it halt the building of Jewish settlements in the occupied territories. Jim Miklashevsky is with us from the White House this morning. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Faith. Secretary of State Baker says when he meets later today with Israeli Ambassador Shoval, he'll be in a listening mode. What that means is if the Israelis want those $10 billion in loan guarantees, it will have to be on President Bush's terms.
The Bush administration was angered this week when Israeli Prime Minister Shamir appeared to thumb his nose at U.S. demands to halt Israeli settlements in the occupied territories.
We have to build and develop everywhere.
But Bush is under pressure at home to tie any loan guarantees to an end to the settlements. If Bush doesn't do it, that could threaten the Mideast peace talks due to reconvene next month. Or some U.S. lawmakers say they'll do it for him.
Those who want the loan guarantees without any conditions on them, frankly, they're fooling themselves.
And with the U.S. economy in the dumps, foreign aid of any kind is on this year's political hit list.
It is time to phase out foreign aid and start looking out for some of the forgotten Americans right here in the United States.
The Bush administration now appears likely to spread the $10 billion in loan guarantees over 5 years and reassess Israeli settlement policy with each installment.
And the American people appear to be behind President Bush on this one. In this week's NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, 73% of the Americans said they oppose loan guarantees for Israel if Israel does not stop those controversial settlements. Faith?
All right, thank you. Jim Miklashevsky. The Democratic Party's front-running president candidate is trying to knock down... I think we just blew a light. Anyway, he's trying to knock down new charges of a long-running extramarital affair. In a paid interview in the tabloid newspaper The Star, a woman says she and Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton had an affair and says Clinton told her to deny it.
And it's sad. It's sad that this sort of thing could be published in a newspaper like The Star. which says Martians walk on the earth. You never asked me if Martians walk on the earth. I mean, I think it's just, this whole thing is amazing and very, very sad, but there's nothing to be done about it. There's a lot of money out there today for stories like this, and she got some of it.
The charges published in the tabloid, quote, taped conversation said to have taken place between the woman and Clinton. South African President F.W. de Klerk today said he's determined to push ahead with reforms to end apartheid. This morning he addressed South Africa's parliament and spoke of a transitional government that could include black parties. But he also said the white-dominated parliament would have to give its approval first. A bus carrying the Notre Dame University women's swim team crashed early this morning, leaving 2 people dead and 33 others injured. The chartered bus went out of control in a snowstorm on the Indiana toll road and rolled over on the highway's median. The accident happened as the bus approached South Bend, where Notre Dame is located. The team was returning from a meet at Northwestern University near Chicago. Head coach Tim Welsh was the only person on the bus to escape injury. A Japanese video game company wants to buy into America's national pastime. Jim Foreman reports on the controversy that surrounds the Seattle Mariners.
It is the first time a group outside of North America is trying to buy a Major League Baseball team. The Japanese family that owns the Nintendo video game empire is the controlling interest in a group of investors trying to acquire the Seattle Mariners. And the idea of the Japanese owning a part of America's pastime is not sitting well with baseball's leadership. But the people who put the $100 million cash offer together say they could not have done it without the backing of the Japanese, Nintendo's senior vice president.
Their only motivation is to help this community.
Help Seattle keep its professional baseball club. Last month, Mariners owner Jeff Smolian announced that local buyers had just 90 days to come up with his $100 million asking price, or the team would move. The frontrunner was Tampa, Florida. The proposed deal appears to meet Smolian's basic requirements, but not Baseball Commissioner Faye Vincent's. Vincent released a statement that said, baseball has addressed the issue of ownership of its franchises and has developed a strong policy against approving investors from outside the United States and Canada. The prospective owners say they have not ruled out a lawsuit to force Major League Baseball to accept their offer. They say they've pitched the ball. Now it's up to the majors to take a swing. Jim Foreman for NBC News, Seattle.
Baseball Commissioner Faye Vincent will talk about this in just a few minutes. AIDS researchers say an Australian doctor was preaching fear and hysteria when he suggested a boycott of Olympic basketball if Magic Johnson plays for the United States this summer. The doctor claimed that Johnson would endanger Australian players because he's infected with the AIDS virus. Australia's foreign minister is trying to head off an Olympic diplomatic crisis.
Absolute nonsense from start to finish. The person who made the comment ought to have known better. And I hope that the quick official response from Australia has been enough to kill the story stone dead.
The NBA says that Magic Johnson may play in next month's All-Star game. He was named to the team after receiving the 4th highest number of votes among Western Conference players. 7:07 now. That's the latest from here.
And Faith survived the news. That was scary.
Wow.
I was brave until Mark ducked.
That's right.
When you see the stage manager take cover, you know you're in danger.
But it was simply a light. You don't have
a light
crazy person in here. Good.
Although a number of the crew members did volunteer to throw themselves across Faith's body to protect her.
I tell you, though, you could tell what neighborhood they live in because the guys who live in a tough neighborhood, they went down on the ground. They were down on the ground, man.
Well, Willard has flown the coop today. Actually,
Yes.
he's flown to the coop. He's at the International Poultry Show in Atlanta. But as you can see, Al Roker is here, and we're hoping he won't lay an egg.
Oh, what a yoke. I love working with these hard-boiled anchors. Let's take a look at what's going on out there right now. Cold, cold start to the morning. Some lake effect snow around western New York, 6 to 12 inches there. We're also looking at some snows in the mountains of West Virginia. Gale warnings for the mid-Atlantic coast on into New England, and cold weather in Chicago with wind chills 3 above. Look at this snow. Also, Little Alberta Clipper bringing 3 to 5 inches of snow as it scoots across the Great Lakes and on into New England. Again, very windy in the Northeast and also the mid-Atlantic states. Looking at lots of sunshine down south, but it's going to be a little on the chilly side until you get down to the Gulf Coast with plenty of sunshine, mild conditions. And as we move our way to the west, lots of sun down south. In fact, it's going to be gorgeous out west. Los Angeles, sunny, temperatures in the low 70s. Some rain and gale force winds along the northwestern coast. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Well, it looks like one more day of winter, then a big warm-up starts tomorrow. We need to get through today, though. First, increasing clouds today in central Iowa. Chance of some overnight snow tonight, 1 to 2 inches, maybe. That'll be about it. Overnight low right at 16 degrees.
7:09. Now here's Joe.
Okay, Al, thank you very much. On Close Up this morning, American baseball owned by the Japanese. As we've been reporting, the Japanese president of the video maker Nintendo is heading a $100 million pitch to buy the Seattle Mariners baseball team. Now, any sale must be okayed by a majority of team owners. But Baseball Commissioner Faye opinion, he has a very important role in this. Now, the commissioner joins us this morning, and we really appreciate him being with us because I know it was a short night. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning to you.
Is it likely that this deal is going to happen?
Well, I would say it's unlikely, Joe. We're presented with a very difficult and complicated set of problems. The situation is fluid, but baseball owners have previously addressed this issue, and I would think it's unlikely that baseball would approve ownership in the form we have it presented to us in Seattle.
Is it too strong to say there is a ban by baseball against ownership outside of North America?
Well, ban is probably too strong, but I think the last time we addressed it, which was not too long ago, Joe, the ownership was very firm in its belief that we ought to preserve the integrity of the ownership within North America. And I think it is unlikely that the Japanese involvement would be approved.
The ownership committee, they'll be meeting today, will they not? Is that an emergency meeting?
No, it's not an emergency meeting, Joe. I think they will be meeting by telephone. As you know, I'm going to be away and I'll miss the meeting, but Steve Greenberg will be involved. I think the ownership wants to monitor this situation very carefully. As I say to you, it is all a bit premature. We just heard about this yesterday, and I think the ownership will want to give the matter very careful and close attention.
Now, the chief Japan spokesman says we're only doing this in response to requests from the local community. What is the situation in Seattle?
Well, I think that's accurate. And look, nobody has any question about the good faith of the people in Seattle or of the Nintendo people. I think we all ought to view this as a great compliment to baseball, and we are, in fact, flattered by their attention and their willingness to invest. I think we have, however, a strong preference in favor of local ownership, and our owners will have to confront this issue with some care.
Well, some say it's an economic boost if they buy. Some say it's an economic invasion. Would it be better if the timing was better for the Japanese to buy?
No, I think it's a fair time. I think Seattle is confronted with a proposition from the present owners, and I think it's a perfectly reasonable response. As I say, I think it requires attention, and because it's so early and because everything here is being viewed reasonably prematurely, I think we need some time to think through these issues carefully.
You think we'll ever see the day, or is it unlikely that we'll have the Toyota Cardinals and the Mitsubishi Pirates?
Well, I don't know, Joe. I think that's probably a long way off. As I say, we have a very fine relationship with Japanese baseball, and nobody ought to misconstrue this. We're flattered that people want to be part of Major League Baseball. I think that's basically a very positive sign.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, for getting up so early. I know you're heading for vacation, and what a great way to go on vacation. Another problem.
Well, thanks, Joe. Nice to be with you.
You enjoy it with Valerie.
Thanks.
It's 7:12, and in just a couple of moments, Katie will be back with A Tale of Two Cities. This is Today on NBC.
Mercy Hospital is a major cancer center with everything needed to treat cancer. The most advanced technology, the most sophisticated techniques, highly talented cancer specialists, everything you'd expect from a leading cancer center. But Mercy also offers something more that's hard to put your finger on, but easy to get your arms around.
Even if you don't subscribe to the Des Moines Register, you've probably noticed that it's been redesigned, so it's easier than ever to find just what you're looking for. And you may have noticed that the Register has expanded its local news coverage, so you can keep up with what's happening in Des Moines. But you may not know that you can get this neat clock free when you pay for a 13-week subscription. To subscribe, call 284-8311.
Get me the Des Moines Register.
The Des Moines Register, just what you're looking for.
At Long John Silver's, you're gonna get your wish.
Grilled chicken.
Chicken?
chicken at Long John's? Yeah, and right now our chicken and fish combo is just $1.99. Go chicken! Fish!
Long John Silver's.
Don't forget to enter the Command 4EC herbicide Take a Vacation from Broadleaves and Grasses sweepstakes. You could win a week's vacation for two at the fabulous Hilton Hawaiian Village on Waikiki Beach. See your participating Command dealer for details.
It's the little things that make a bank great.
My aunt left me some money, and I wasn't quite sure what to do with it, save it or invest it. Lynn over at the bank sat down with me and went over all my options. You know, she treated it as though it was the most important couple $1,000s in the whole bank. I appreciated that, because to me, it was.
Hawkeye Banks of Iowa. It's the little things.
And now the story of a Texas town versus one in Michigan. Winner take all. In an attempt to cut costs, General Motors plans to close its auto assembly plant in one of those two places. NBC's Jim Cummins has a report on what's at stake.
General Motors builds many of its big cars, Chevys, Buicks, and Cadillacs, at two plants. This one, called Willow Run in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and this one in Arlington, Texas. GM plans to close one of them by the end of the year, resulting in the loss of thousands of jobs, a devastating prospect for either place. Richard Green is the mayor of Arlington, Texas.
If you drive on our streets, if you enjoy our parks, if you drink our water, you do all of that largely as the beneficiary of this great corporate citizen in our midst.
GM is the biggest taxpayer in town, $4 million a year. More than 1,000 GM employees live in Arlington and pay taxes too. Arlington is scrambling to save the plant, offering GM future tax breaks. Texas Governor Ann Richards promised to buy GM's natural gas-powered cars if the company will keep the Arlington plant open. Michigan Governor John Engler wasn't overlooking the Texas effort during his State of the State message this week.
I believe these jobs belong in Michigan, and I will fight with you to keep them here, each and every one.
GM Chairman Robert Stempel seems to be discouraging the competition between Michigan and Texas.
If it's good for the state of Texas, do it for Texas. If it's good for the community of Arlington, do it for Arlington. But don't do it for us.
We're not doing it for General Motors. We're doing it for Arlington and for Texas.
There is another kind of competition here among the workers. When GM announced plans to close one of the two plants, the union workers in Texas were voting to reopen their local contract and make concessions to the company on work rules and hours.
I'm all for whatever concessions that we have to make.
It's a competition between each local union. And whoever comes up with the best deal for General Motors, that's the one they'll do.
But so far, the workers in Michigan are resisting concessions to the company.
I don't know what Texas has got to offer. They say they got a lot. You know, they say they do everything big in Texas. Maybe just talk.
In fact, when Michigan workers recently rallied to save their plant, they reaffirmed their union solidarity. Bill Ford is the congressman from this area.
It would be terrible if you got workers starting to bid against American for the job. I'll cut my wages. I'll starve my kids a little more than you'll starve your kids to keep the job. We don't want that to happen.
GM says it will announce which of the two plants it plans to close by the end of March. For today, Jim Cummins, NBC News, Dallas.
Michigan officials presented their case to GM yesterday. Texas gets its chance later today. This morning, we'll hear from both sides. Michigan Governor John Engler is at the governor's mansion in Lansing, and Cathy Bonner, executive director of the Texas Department of Commerce, is at our studios of our NBC affiliate in Austin, KXAN-TV. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Ms. Bonner, let me start with you. You get your chance to talk to GM officials later today. What will you tell them?
Well, we will tell them that in the new Texas, we try to find new solutions for old problems, and Governor Richards has a plan to help GM sell more of their cars all over the world fueled by natural gas. It's a win-win situation. GM wins, the environment wins, Texas economy wins, and everybody wins when we help GM sell more cars.
Governor Engler, what can you offer GM that Arlington can't? That sounds like a pretty good sales pitch to me.
Well, Bob Stempel's made it clear to Texas, and he's made it clear to Michigan that this decision is going to be based on a number of factors, including right at the plant facility, the production floor. And we think that Michigan has significant cost advantage, workforce advantages, location advantages that in the end are going to affirm the Willow Run plant, and we'll keep making those cars here at this plant.
What do you think the key factor will be, if anything, Governor?
Well, I think that, the tragedy is, first of all, that GM is having to lose 74,000 jobs, and I think the key factor is how the company looks at its structure, post this reduction. And as they bring things together, Michigan's the home of General Motors, it's the home of the UAW, it's the center of the car industry. And I think as we look at buying American, we're seeing a resurgence in the heartland and across the country. And one of the things that I stressed in the State of the State is that for us in Michigan to make a difference, it's time that we start buying the Michigan-made cars. It's time we support the company. And I think what the company is saying is that it's a total picture, total package, and we can't buy this plant. GM isn't going to make that decision.
A lot of people are saying what's behind this basically are union concessions, pitting one local against the other. Do you think that's true, Ms. Bonner?
I don't think anyone wins if you pit American worker against American worker.
But don't you think that's happening?
I think that the city of Arlington and the workers there are trying to do everything they can to show that they are the most productive in the world, and that the Texas worker wants to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. We want to put our money where our mouth is. We want to buy GM cars. They are our only automobile manufacturer in the state of Texas.
Governor Engler, the local in Michigan doesn't appear ready to make concessions. Do you think they'll be forced to?
Well, again, the company said they're not seeking that, but I talked with the union leadership as late as yesterday after their meeting. They felt they had a very good meeting, a compelling case for the advantages of Willow Run, and I think they include in that a commitment to meet the highest possible quality and production standard. And so I have every confidence that the auto workers with the years of experience at Willow Run will exceed whatever Arlington could offer, and frankly will outpace the rest of the system.
Governor, does all this competition between two cities, does it make you at all uncomfortable, or do you think this is the American way?
Well, I think it's unfortunate. As I said, the company's in that position. It does make me uncomfortable to this extent. We've seen a tremendous amount of competition on tax abatements, trying to give away tax base by states, not just with the domestic companies either, I might add. One of the real challenges and problems we've had with the transplants is we've given so much in the way of inducements and tax incentives, and I think the competition ought to be on the quality of the schools, the quality of the community, on some infrastructure things that are going to be there regardless of the manufacturing future. And that's where we've got to get it back to, and the Governor's Association is targeting that kind of a change because that's real important.
Ms. Bonner, we only have a few seconds left. Are you prepared to lose GM if one city is going to lose it? Have you braced yourself for that possibility?
Well, Governor Richard's plan is so immense in the size of the market that we could help GM capture that there's an opportunity for both plants to stay open. We want GM to consider this as a new opportunity. We're talking about 1 million vehicles running on compressed natural gas in the state of Texas alone by the year 2000. The market's as large as 4 million vehicles. This is what the consumer wants.
Okay.
And that's what we want to deliver.
Well, Ms. Bonner, Governor Engler, thank you.
Thanks,
we'll
Kitty.
be watching and waiting for the results. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're back in a moment with more on Today, right after this.
Remember Patty Orban? Wow.
Sweetheart, dinner!
She couldn't compete with Mom's macaroni and cheese, though. Well, now you can get macaroni and cheese just like Mom used to make, only better. Welcome home to the healthier lean cuisine. Stouffer's makes it taste as good as you remember, but with less fat and salt. Whatever happened to Patty Orban?